Welcome to GWRI 202, Writing Within Your Field of Study at the Union Institute and University. Today's video is entitled Concluding Paragraphs, the Aftertaste That is Left in the Mouth of Your Reader. For those of you who have had me in class before, you've heard me use the term mind movies. For the good writer and the good speaker has the ability to create pictures, even mind movies, in the head of their readers. Today I'm going to offer you 3 mind movies that will hopefully teach you the reasons and the purposes behind the concluding paragraph. When I was young, my dad used to take us to the ball game. Some of my fondest memories of youth happened in ballparks. I remember Mickey Stanley climbing the tarp in left center field of Tiger Stadium and robbing someone of a homer. I remember a right fielder on the San Diego Padres named Gaston throwing a one-hop strike to home plate and getting the bat around. But the most vivid memory of my life in concerning baseball has to do with the opening pitch. In a Major League Baseball game, when the opening pitch is about to come, everybody in the stadium, whether they've been there for hours watching batting practice or whether they just walked in, their attention goes to the pitcher on the mound. Silence goes through the stadium. The pitcher winds up and whoosh, the first pitch is almost never hit. People don't swing at the first pitch. It's either whoosh, strike one or whoosh, ball one. The opening pitch of a baseball game is like your introduction to your paper. The introduction to your paper is that part that has to have some whoop. Then the ball game goes on and runs start scoring and innings start happening and the game unfolds. Here, it's the 7th inning stretch. The home team's coming to the plate. It's 5-3. You pretty much know how the 5 runs were scored by the home team and the 3, but you don't know how the game is going to end up. It's sort of like the body of your paper. You're giving your ideas. You're telling your story, but your story and your ideas are not yet complete. Then the end of the game comes. In this case, 7-3. We have conclusion. The home team did win. After the game, there's announcers who go over the box score. There are people that get interviewed, and you know exactly what happened. The concluding paragraph of your paper. You tell the reader exactly what happened. There are several purposes of a concluding paragraph, and I'd like to discuss them with you right now. The concluding paragraph is there to restate your main idea or thesis statement of your essay. It's there to summarize the 3 most important subplots of your essay. In that baseball game, they didn't interview everybody. They interviewed the 3 people who were the most integral to that particular game. And your most important purpose of your concluding paragraph is to leave your reader with an interesting final impression. Speeches are like writing. I want to try to create a mind movie of speeches. A good speaker has an introduction and tries to bring you in and make you interested. And then he has a body to his paper and hopefully he's got you sitting forward in your chair listening. But if a good speaker does not have a good conclusion, you won't remember. You won't find his speech to be particularly wonderful. Preachers are really good at the concluding paragraphs. In fact, preachers have whole courses on the concluding paragraph. They call it the altar call. And if a preacher does a wonderful job of introducing his idea and then comes into his body and takes scripture from here and scriptures from there and makes you completely understand, but if he doesn't have a good concluding paragraph, if he does not have a good ending to his speech, then he will not get an altar call. I want to take a moment here and I want to watch a short video on called The Altar Call's Greatest Hits.
Do you love the altar call but can't stand all the work it takes to get to one? Now you can save gas, time, and those countless hours of boring sermons with Phony Music's new collection, Altar Call's Greatest Hits. All your favorites are here. Let's take care of business.
Let's take care of business.
Bow your head, close your eyes. No one looking around.
Now with all eyes closed, all heads bowed, nobody looking around, I want to ask one more question.
Raise your hand. I saw you raise your hand. If you raised your hand, stand up.
Raise your hand. Don't be shy.
Step out in the aisle.
You take that first foot and you stick it out into the aisle, that the first set of chains are going to snap off of your life.
If we all could have a concluding paragraph like those done by some of our good preachers, we'd be very proud of what we're trying to do. And in fact, I think all of us would like to have an altar call at the end of everything that we write. I want to show one other movie as part of this Mind movie, because sometimes you can really goof up your point with a poor ending.
The reason you lift your hand is because you already believe. You're saying, I believe. You know, and we've just given you an opportunity to confess him before men. He sees you, the little guy in the back. Little guy, I'm not a midget, he's a child. I mean, want anyone to think I was offending a midget?
There are certain techniques that we need to use, certainly not the technique used by that last preacher there, but there are techniques that we can use for concluding paragraphs that really can make a difference in our paper. Because remember, we want the altar call, we want to have the box score at the end of the game. We can ask provocative question at the end and leave a question in the head of our readers. We can use a quotation that applies to what we have been talking about in our paper. We can evoke a vivid image, because really we're trying to create mind movies and mind pictures, and if we can do that, we are successful in what we write. We can call for some sort of action, and I noticed the spelling error on the screen. We can end with a warning. We can universalize what we're trying to do, and we can suggest results or consequences. All of these things are good techniques for making our good concluding paragraph. We just must keep in mind the importance of our concluding paragraph. The last Mind movie I would like to talk about today has to do with my family. I have 5 daughters. Actually, I had 2 dogs. They were both female. I had 1 cat. He was male. He ran away. Sometimes people wondered why I didn't run away. But dinner around our house was always very interesting. People have their own style of eating. Do you have a style? My youngest daughter, Jessica, she would never let food touch each other. If she had potatoes, she would keep it on this side of the plate, and if she had peas, it would go here, and her meat would go back there, and it could never touch. And Jessica would always decide and eat all of her potatoes, and then eat all of her peas, and then eat all of her meat. And I tell her, don't you know when it gets down in your stomach that it mixes all together? And she'd say, it's not going to mix together up here. Now, I personally don't have a eating style as drastic as my daughter Jessica, but I do have one. If I have potatoes, and I have peas, and I have meat, I'm liable to take those peas and put it right on top of the potatoes because they taste good that way. But there is one thing that I do, and that is, as I'm eating, I decide which part of the meal tastes the best. And that piece I save for last. So I eat my meal, and then if it's the meat that's the last thing, I will take it last. I will eat it. It's actually quite good. You put a little bit on your mustache, and it'll stay around a little bit. Because I want the last taste to be the best taste. Now, when we write our papers and we come to the concluding paragraph, we must realize that the concluding paragraph is the aftertaste that we leave in the mouth of our readers. In conclusion, concluding paragraphs are very important. They're the box score of our baseball game. They're the altar call of our preachers. And they're the aftertaste that is left in the mouth of your reader.